Hello there. We have another day of social studies. And so today we're going to be doing a little bit more reading. We're going to continue talking about good citizens and what are some things that you can do in your community to ensure that you are a good citizen. So let me go ahead and share my screen and we will go ahead and get started. We are still working out of our Social Studies Weekly publication. So yesterday we read Every Little Bit Helps. And so now we're diving a little deeper into this publication. And so the title of this publication, or actually this section, is Good Citizens. And so here's the title. I'm going to go ahead and label that. I want to make sure I remember. So I'm getting my brain ready to learn all about good citizens. Now I wonder if this is a fiction story about some people being good citizens, or if this is a nonfiction informational text about ways you can be good citizens. So we'll have to kind of see after we do some reading. Now this is kind of set up interesting. I see you have a paragraph here and then it kind of goes here. And so we have to remember when we're reading things like this, like newspapers, you go top to bottom, then you start a new row, top to bottom, then you start the new row, top to bottom. You don't read like this, being a good citizen, blah, blah, blah. Then you jump over here and you certainly don't read all the way across like that. Okay, so I'm starting in this little square right here. Being a good citizen in your community involves many things. It means caring about where you live. It means believing that all people in the community should be treated fairly. Being a good citizen also means telling the truth. What else makes a good citizen? So now right here I have a heading, the common good. Never heard of that before, so I wonder what the common good is. What do you do at school when you see litter on the playground? Oh, we see that at Jane Long sometimes. Do you pick it up and put it in the trash can? If so, then you are acting for the common good. That means you are doing things that are good for everyone. Oh, look at that. The author told me exactly what the definition is of common good. So if someone asked you, hey, Joey, what is common good? You would say, common good means that you're doing things that are good for everyone, not just animals, not just gals, not just dudes, not just old people. You're doing things that are good for everybody, the common good. Picking up trash keeps the playground clean. That makes it a nicer place for everyone in the school to enjoy. There are many other things you can do for the common good of your school and community. Good citizens find many ways to make the community a better place to live. So now I see. So if you want to be a good citizen, one thing you can do is do things for the common good. Things that are good for everybody. Cleaning up a playground, good for everybody. Stopping at stop signs, good for everybody. I am even going to go so far as walking around town smiling, good for everybody. Common good. Okay, now we have another heading, obey laws. That's definitely something that we should do to be good citizens. So let's get some more information about that. Why are there rules in your school? Rules help to make sure everyone is safe and has a chance to learn. Communities have rules too. These rules are called laws. Everyone in a community must obey the laws. They help keep people safe, just like the rules in your school. When people do not, and you go all the way up here to the top, when people do not obey laws, there are consequences. Wearing a seatbelt in the car is one law citizens must obey. And that's a serious one because I know you can get in serious health issues if you or accidentally to get into a car accident and you did not have your seatbelt on. That could be devastating. So it says people driving cars must obey traffic laws. They cannot drive too fast and they must stop at stop signs and red lights. I need to learn that because I sometimes drive a little too fast. Don't tell anybody, but I sometimes do. And so I need to be reminded to obey the laws. There are special laws for bicycles. These laws help keep drivers, bicycle riders, and pedestrians, that's a fancy word, but look, in quotations or in parentheses, they tell us that pedestrians mean people who are walking. So if you're a walker from Jane Long in the afternoon, if you live maybe like on our street or like a block over, you're a pedestrian. So I lost my place. Here we go. A person who doesn't obey these laws may get a ticket and a fine. I've gotten those before. Shh, don't tell anybody. A fine is money you pay as punishment for breaking a law. So that's me. I have sped before in my car. Oopsies. A police officer pulled me over. I got a ticket and I had to pay a fine. That's just the way it is. So I need to be a little bit more careful to obey the laws because they're there to keep us safe. All right, we have another heading and it's vote. So that must be another way we can show that we are remarkable citizens. So far we've talked about doing things for the common good, obeying laws, and voting. So let's read about voting. And we have a huge election coming up this November. So any adult that is 18 years or older, please encourage them to vote this upcoming election because that is something that makes them a remarkable citizen. We are exercising our right as Americans to vote, and it's super important. So anyway, we have vote. Citizens who care about their communities must vote. Voting gives people a chance to choose their leaders and make their voices heard. It is a right and a responsibility. Voters have the responsibility to learn about issues they are voting for. If you don't have all the facts, you may find out later that you voted for something you didn't want. Oh, listen to this sentence. In some countries, people are not even allowed to vote. Americans are lucky to have a voice in our government. That's true. You know, in some countries, someone can just wake up one day pretty much and say, you know what? I'm in charge. And because I'm in charge, I get to decide that we will no longer eat hamburgers in this country ever again. And because he's in charge, we would have to follow that. We would have to follow that law. And that's just crazy. That's why it's so important that we vote, because not everybody gets to vote. And so we are exercising our rights as Americans, and we should be super grateful for the opportunity to let our voice be heard. So that's another thing you can do to be a remarkable citizen. Now we have keeping promises. It says here, most elected leaders must take an oath of office before they start their jobs. An oath of office is a promise leaders make to do the best job they can and uphold the laws. Elected leaders who do not keep their word may be removed from office. So again, in America, if there's an elected leader that does not do what he said he was going to do, or he does not follow the law himself, even though he makes everyone else follow the law, and if he doesn't follow the law, then he could be potentially removed from the office. Okay, next thing, serving on a jury. Maybe ask your parents about this, see if they've ever been on jury duty. That is when you have to go into the courthouse and you have to listen to a trial before a judge, and you determine if that person is innocent or guilty, and if they need to pay a fine or maybe even go to jail. So serving in a jury, ask your parents about that. But anyway, it says, one important job American citizens have is, I'm going to go all the way back up here to the top, is to serve on a jury. A jury is a group of people that makes decisions about court cases. If you are chosen to be on a jury, you and the other jury members are responsible for making decisions that are fair and equal. To serve on a jury, you must be at least 18 years old, and you have to be able to read and write. And last but not least, volunteer. This reminds me of Gabby and her family who were volunteering to build a house for a family. It says here, good citizens who want to give something back to the community can volunteer or donate their time to help others. Many people volunteer because they want to help others in need. There are many ways you can volunteer in your community. Food banks collect canned goods or deliver food to people in need. Other programs teach people to read. Some volunteers even build homes for people. Hey, right there, that's Gabby. She was a volunteer that built homes for people. I want to write Gabby's name there. The list of volunteer jobs is very long. If you want to give back to your community, talk to your parents about where you could volunteer. Someone will really appreciate your help. I love that. So if this is something that interests you and it's something that you want to do and you want to give back, you should definitely talk to your parents about, hey, what are some things that we can do to volunteer in the community around us, especially now that we're in fall and school's back, November's coming up, and so is the holiday season. So it's always really good to volunteer during the holiday season. All right, so now that we read the Good Citizen section, I want you to think, in your head, what are some things that you have done before for the common good? So have you picked up trash at the Jane Lawn Playground? If you have, great. You were doing things for the common good. So I want you thinking about the common good, and I want you to think in your head a couple examples. A couple means two. So I want you to come up with 2 examples of ways in which you withheld the common good. And then listen to this. It says, obeying laws doesn't sound like much fun all the time, but it's important that we do. How do obeying rules and laws keep adults and children safe? So let me reword that. When you are obeying laws, you are keeping everybody safe. Why is that? I want you thinking about those things, and you are going to be taking a short assignment after this, and I'm going to be asking you one of those questions. So hopefully you were thinking in your brain, so when you see the question I ask, you're not surprised. All right, see you later and good luck.